The Sun Belt has the glorious distinction of being the only conference remaining with divisions. You love to see it, since divisions were so integral to the sport before the NIL and transfer portal era. Enjoy it, guys, because this might be the last year with divisions, as Texas State is off to Pac-12 starting in 2026, and thus offsetting the divisions. The NIL and portal era is being felt across all the Group of 5 conferences for sure, with power conference schools stripping the Sun Belt of its 2024 all-conference teams. Like literally, no underclassmen who earned first-team All-Sun Belt honors returns in 2025 to the team he played for in 2024. But all that turmoil figures to result in pretty mixed-up division races. James Madison and Georgia Southern figure to fight it out in the East. For the Dukes, even with the transfer of receiver Yamir Knight and the question of quarterback Alonzo Barrett's leg injury, the offense should carry the team. Quarterback Matthew Silica, who left UNLV over an NIL dispute, will be ready to step in if Barrett isn't completely healthy. And George Pettaway and Io Adeye pack a powerful 1-2 punch at running back for James Madison. Georgia Southern has an experienced quarterback, always a good place to start, in J.C. French V, who averaged 218 passing yards per game last year. But much of their success will rest on their defense and how their transfer players respond. They were in the driver's seat for a spot in the Sun Belt Championship last year after big wins against James Madison and Marshall before suffering tough upset losses to Old Dominion and Troy. Appalachian State will be looking to recover from a 6th-place finish in the East. Up until last year, they've never had a losing season ever since returning to the FBS level a decade ago. With transfer quarterback AJ Swan, look for the Mountaineers to climb back up the standings as long as all the transfer players mesh from the get-go, because Appalachian State only returns 5 starters. For everyone else in the East Division, tons of new players and coordinators are incoming, and a lot of pieces are going to have to fall in the right places for a return to the postseason. Meanwhile, you have 5 teams in the West, a lucky break or 2 away from making the conference championship. Louisiana has won the division 5 times in the 7 years that the conference has had divisions. They got former 5-star recruit and Ole Miss transfer quarterback Walker Howard, and the defensive line will be stingy, but a rebuilt back 7 will have to come through in a big way. South Alabama and Texas State both have uncertainties at quarterback, but both have good options from the transfer portal. Also, both don't return a ton of starters in general. South Alabama looked to be the favorite to emerge in the West Division until their quarterback from 2024, Gio Lopez, transferred out of the program in the spring portal time slot. Arkansas State made a nice move up the standings last year to finish 2nd in the West behind Louisiana and seems to be reaping dividends from recent solid recruiting classes. Quarterback Jalen Raynor passed for 214 yards per game in 2024, and he looks for a strong season again in 2025. Troy's the only other team to ever win the West Division along with Louisiana. They won it twice. A 3rd championship probably won't happen for the Trojans, as they're hoping a ton of transfers will improve a defense that gave up almost 6 yards a play and over 90% scoring in the red zone in 2024. But the margin that separates these teams in the West is so small, but I'm leaning on Louisiana's postseason experience to get the job done.